realize that your relationships don't work out. Perhaps the incorrect relationship continues attracting you, or perhaps you fail to see when the right one is right in front of you. Perhaps you suspect your companion has a toxic attachment. Toxic attachment manifests itself through characteristics such as jealousy, manipulation, domination, selfishness, and desperation. Whatever the cause of your relationship problems, it's important to understand the indications of a toxic relationship and their patterns. So, to assist you detect a toxic relationship, here are 6 toxic relationship patterns to look out for. The first is being overly reliant or too dependent. A healthy relationship is crucial, but it should not be your entire emphasis in life. We should all care about our partners, but it might be unhealthy if your partner is constantly dependent on you. You and your partner should be allowed to go out without each other on occasion. Whether you constantly check your partner's schedule to see if they're accessible, even if you're the only one invited, you should consider whether you're overly reliant on the other. When your partner requires some alone time, it is critical that you respect this. Number 2, being too self-sufficient and too independent. Someone can be both overly dependent and overly independent. Is your boyfriend often distant and aloof around you? Do they spend little time with you? And when they do they always choose where to dine or go on a date? What about the key decisions in your relationship? Who makes them? It's critical that both of you have a say in how the relationship develops. Your essential values should be comparable, if not identical. And making decisions as a pair should be a collaborative endeavor. If your partner continually insists on having their way or acts as if they have power over you, you should consider leaving. Manipulation is the third factor. Is your lover manipulating your emotions to obtain what they desire? They could be utilizing emotional coercion as a type of manipulation. Emotional coercion occurs when someone utilizes emotions like guilt, grief, rage, or happiness to obtain something from you. They do this with no concern for the feelings of others, only for their own. Someone has the ability to manipulate you through a series of relatively minor stages until you become accustomed to them. The steps will eventually get much larger, but you'll be used to them thanks to your partner's steady approach. If you believe your spouse is manipulating you, you should quit the relationship and seek aid and comfort from family or friends. There are people who are harmed by toxic relationships, but it is possible to get out, heal, and move on to a healthy relationship. Fourth, blending identities. Do you find yourself sacrificing your solo hobbies in favor of simply doing things as a couple? Do you find yourself losing personal friends because you only spend out with the pals you and your partner share as a couple? You might even notice that your particular identity is fading. It is critical that our separate identity exists independently of our romantic partner. You should not try to alter your personality or identity to the point where you are no longer yourself. You and your partner may be developing identities, and this tendency can be quite harmful. You can both exist apart from each other. It's critical to realize that no matter how similar we are, behave, and act unique to ourselves, we are each unique, and shouldn't try to change what makes us us. Selfishness and making demands are ranked fifth. Is your boyfriend often saying negative things about you? Do they act selfishly and make unreasonable expectations of you? Perhaps you've recently felt as if they have influence over you. Nobody should have complete control in a relationship, and a good partner considers the other person's wants as well as their own. Perhaps your partner frequently disregards your wants in favor of their own. Perhaps you enjoy going on romantic dates every now and then, but you notice that your partner always puts a stop to any sort of romanticism that you enjoy. Instead, they simply want what they desire. Maybe it's the other way around, and your partner always expects you to bring them things or do them favors. But they never consider doing the same for you. It's critical to identify these patterns before you lose your sense of self. The sea is teeming with fish. Maybe you'll meet someone who isn't as self-centered, See what I did there? 6. Mistaking love for emotional hunger. Are you in love or just looking for emotional fulfillment? We may believe we are in love with someone, yet we may actually be suffering from emotional hunger. Childhood impoverishment can result in emotional hunger. Those who are emotionally hungry frequently seek to fill a gap or emptiness within themselves. They frequently try to compensate for this emotional emptiness in their relationships. If you started your relationship out of desperation and merely wanted attention and affection, it's wise to assess whether that need is being misinterpreted as true love. Remember that it's important to develop a strong identity outside of your partnership as well. You are your own person. It is critical that you do not completely rely on each other for everything, and that you aren't so self-sufficient from one another that you don't consider your partner's needs at all. So, if you perceive that your relationship is out of balance and poisonous, it's usually in your best interest to end. Choose to look for love on an even playing field. Before moving on to a new relationship, you may need to focus on your connection with yourself. But know that it is possible to find a love that is